A very good morning to all my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good. Today is 22nd September 2020. Day is Tuesday. I would like to start today's discussion with this quote by Homer. The charity that is a trifle to us can be precious to others. We may think that we are doing just a little bit thing, just a little help or little charity, small charity. But that small gesture can change someone's life. That small gesture can have a positive impact on someone's life. So keep on doing good work. With this, dear friends, StudyIQ team has designed a smart course. This smart course is for Civil Services Examination. It covers your pre as well as mains examination, and to find out more about it, all you have to do is download our mobile application. Till 30th September, yes, we have extended this EMI offer till 30th September. So make the most out of it. Don't wait for 30th September. If you want to do something, do it today itself. You can download the PDF of today's lecture from my Telegram channel, and you can follow me on Facebook too. We have 5 articles on our table today, dear friends. The first one is about coronavirus. Second one is about voice vote versus division vote. What is the difference? And then we are going to see what happened in Rajya Sabha. Third one is about India and Russia's relationship. Fourth one is about India-China. Last one is about labor laws. And then we have some news items on our table. So let's crack on with the first one. In the air. Back in February 2020, Wuhan Institute of Virology was the first institute in the world to say this thing, that airborne transmission of coronavirus is possible. The reason why we are discussing this airborne transmission is because the latest update that is coming from Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, has revised its guidelines to acknowledge the spread of novel coronavirus through aerosols. I believe you know what aerosol is. If not, then let me tell you. In the air, we have tiny little solid particles, right? We have tiny little dust particles and other particles, so they are aerosols. They are so light that they can fly with this wind and air. So coronavirus, right, it can transmit via air. Airborne transmission is possible, and that is a matter of concern, isn't it? And read here that CDC is revising its guidelines to acknowledge the spread of the novel coronavirus through aerosols, and to point to inhalation of particles as a common way the virus spreads. So airborne particles can spread even by breathing, remain suspended in air, and be inhaled and spread beyond 6 feet in certain enclosed settings. Enclosed settings, you can say car, you can say train. Nowadays we have this air-conditioned buses, shops, offices, gyms, and there are other places as well, right? So the most dangerous, or a place where chances of infection is quite high here in enclosed settings, right? So here specifically this report is also talking about enclosed setting. Many countries had on their own denied permission for certain enclosed settings to operate, like churches and other places like this. Remember South Korea, in the early days, it banned this gathering of people in a church or in this sort of religious places. 9th July, WHO acknowledged that the virus can be airborne in closed settings. So what is a way out? Is there any way we can defend ourselves? Yes. Universal masking. Wearing a mask is like wearing a shield in a war. It's not like you will not get any injuries, but the impact is going to be low. There are chances that if you are in an enclosed setting and if someone else is getting this coronavirus, then, and if you are wearing a mask and if that person is also wearing a mask, then there are chances that you will avert infection, right? You will not get infected. In case you get infected, the amount of viral load is going to be very low as possible. So your symptoms will be mild, right? If you suffer, then you will suffer from a mild disease. It's not going to be life-threatening, and most of the cases we find it's asymptomatic. So wearing a mask is the only best option. I think it's one of the best option. If you ask me personally, then I would say that wearing a mask is must thing, number one thing. It's like breathing these days. You need to wear a mask, and so you need to breathe, isn't it? To live in the same way, you need to wear a mask, particularly when you step out of your home. Second thing is mask etiquette, right? Just wearing mask is not going to be enough. If your hands are dirty and if you touch your mask with dirty hand, then you are infecting you are basically spoiling your protective gear. So make sure that you follow mask etiquettes. It's very important that you don't touch your mask from this portion. If you want to remove it, if you want to adjust it, then use this string area, right? Rather than using the main this mouth side part of the mask. So basically that's basically everything. Wearing a mask and mask etiquette. If you follow these two things, then I'm not saying, I'm not a doctor, I cannot say that 100% protection, but as far as I know, whatever I know, I can say that it will protect you to an extent, right, compared to not wearing a mask. With this, dear friends, please make sure that you share this lecture with other students. I can see that only few of you are doing this thing on a regular basis. You guys are watching this video, you guys are benefiting out of this video, but you guys are not doing your part, and this makes me feel really sad that why people are they are learning so many things. They are it's free as well, and you are getting this thing nowadays at your own time, like as early as possible. The Hindi lecture is delivered nearly by 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, and this one follows right after it. So around 10:30, 11, before 11 you get this lecture as well. So it's just a small thing that you can do. You may not see a difference if you share this lecture with someone. It's not like that person is going to subscribe and that person is going to start following this thing on regular basis, but you never know. This is the beauty, that when you share it with someone or with as many people as you can, then out of those people someone else will share it with someone else, and a person who is looking for this sort of analysis will find this platform. This platform is also looking for this sort of students, so it will be win-win for every one of us. But for that, you need to share this lecture. Hit the like button if you have learned something from today's discussion. Of course, we are going to continue it, but at the end of the discussion, if you feel like, yes, you learned so many things, then hit the like button. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now, voice vote versus division. So first of all, let me take you through some basics about voice vote. What is voice vote? In Parliament, we table bills or bill, and if a bill is placed on the table, and if the chairperson or the Lok Sabha speaker would like to know the opinion of MPs, whether they are with it or they are against it, then voice vote is one of the quickest way to know or to find out. So a voice vote involves the chairperson or chairman putting a question to the House and then asking members to put forward their opinion in forms of ayes or noes. Ayes mean yes and noes mean, of course, no. So everyone happy with the bill, or everyone this particular bill, and you might have heard this thing, right? The ayes have it, so the bill is passed, and the noes have it, that means the bill is not passed or rejected. So based on a rough measure of which side was louder, the speaker decides if the motion was passed or fell through. Now, division is more specific. When you are not sure about this, louder sound, or when you're not sure whether MPs are for it or against it, then you can go for this division. Even members can demand for a division if they are not sure. Just imagine if you're a part of parliament and if you're not sure what's going on, then you can of course ask the speaker or chairperson to go for a division, and then everyone will vote, and then everything will be clear because everyone will place one electronic vote. So a little bit time consuming but more specific. Here in this voice vote thing, speaker's discretion or the chairman's discretion will take place, or will play a most important, not take place, but will play one of the most important role, right? The speaker or the chairperson will decide whether the members said yes or no. And in division, you don't need a speaker or chairperson's opinion because everything is clear, because everyone has voted. I hope things are clear to you. Now, the reason why we are discussing this particular thing is because Rajya Sabha deputy chairperson or chairman Harivansh, he refused to conduct a division of votes on two controversial pieces of legislation on Sunday despite persistent demands from members. And this is very sad. As per the rules and regulations of a house, even if a single member demands a division, it is required to be carried out. And here we can, I'm not sure how many of you have watched that thing. To be honest, I have not gone through the whole proceeding, but I have watched that bit. So people were demanding it, and deputy chairperson said no to it, and then opposition leaders or opposition MPs, they lost their control, and then they were in the well and misbehaving and things like that. So misbehaving is not right, but at the same time, the chairperson should have allowed this division of vote, but he has said no to it, and there are people who are saying that the disorder was triggered by chair's refusal to order a division. The thing is, dear friends, it doesn't matter if it is BJP, Congress, X, Y, Z, A, B, C, right? Parties will come and go, nation will stay, parties will come and go, parliament will stay. Whatever we do today, or our MPs and our speakers and Lok Sabha speaker, or Rajya Sabha chairperson or deputy chairman, whatever we do today will have its impact on future generation. When I say future generation, I mean to say if this session is good, then next session we'll try to make it as good as it is, or we'll try to make it a bit more better than what it is or what it was, in the previous session. So we have to keep on working, and when I say we, I'm talking about all MPs, right? Ruling, opposition, independent, everyone, elected, selected, everyone. Everyone should strive to make our democracy a bit more mature. Parliament is a place where we discuss things. Parliament is not a place where we fight. If you want to fight, then there are cages and there are, so many grounds available in our country. You can go and fight there, but leave our parliament. Parliament is for a thorough discussion. Unfortunately, right, and I'm not just taking any favor of opposition party or Congress or BJP. I'm not associated with any of them at all, right? For me, everyone is equal. What I'm saying is, chairmen should have allowed, right? If they are demanding, then let's go for it. At the same time, opposition leaders stepping into the well, taking away some things from the chairman's desk, and misbehaving is also not good, right? What type of, just imagine the people, the kids who are watching you, right? What they will feel. Do you think they will like to see these sort of things, right? They will ignore parliament, they will ignore polity, because they don't find anything over there. They don't find a logical discussion taking place. Hardly nowadays we are finding these sort of things, logical discussions and things. So we need to have, the whole world is watching you, not just India, and you know it very well. Every single MP is trained for it. Every single MP knows everything. They know more about it than we know. And then as well, if they are behaving in this way, then this is not a theater, right? This is not a sort of place where you are, this sort of drama should not be allowed. But this drama, when I'm saying this sort of misbehavior, is taking place not because, means you cannot stop it with rules and regulations. You have to create that culture. Rules and regulations, yes, we have. But more than that, we have to create that culture of discussion. I think that's the key. Moving on to next item. With China as backdrop, New Delhi's Moscow watch. India has recently pulled out itself from Russia's Caucasus 2020. It's a military exercise that takes place in Russia. Participants, Shanghai Cooperation Organization members. I have one question for you. Can you give me the name of all members of Shanghai Cooperation Organization? Stick your answer in the comment section. Now, let me share one study tip with you guys very quickly. Let's say if you don't know how many countries are part, or if you know roughly that there are 5 or maybe 10 or 15 or 20 members of SCO, then what you should do is you should try to write down as many names as you think they are, right? So make a list and then compare it with the list that you find from the internet and see how many of you, how many names you have got it right? The names that you have got it wrong, then what you need to do is open your map, and or you can start with the map and then go through the countries, and then you can prepare a list. I will leave it on you guys to decide whatever feels okay to you. So once you have written, or once you have gone through the map, then you write it down. If you have written already, then you can go through the map and then identify or highlight, or to go through those countries. When you identify those countries on your map, and once you have done that thing, then you can write it down. Then you can write your answer. If you do it this way, then what will happen is, it may look time consuming, but you are investing your 10 minutes for something. You are starting a new thing, new string with Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So next time when you will come across SCO, you will know exactly which part that particular article or the video is talking about. And then what you can do is, next time is you can go through SCO. Or if you have time today, you can go through SCO, like how it started, early members, members who joined recently, what's the main agenda or what's the main mission or objective of SCO, why we need it, and things like that. So this basic research of 10 minutes is not a waste of time, it is investment of your time. Will it impact India's decision pulling out itself from this Caucasus 2020? Will it impact India-Russia relationship? This is a question, and we'll try to find answer for this question. So if we see in recent past, so many meetings between Indian and Russian officials took place at various different levels. So June 2020, foreign ministers meeting took place. Rajnath Singh was in Russia for 75th Victory Day Parade. 4th September, SCO Defense Ministers meeting took place. At the same time, Indra, that is India-Russia naval exercise, took place in Andaman and Nicobar Island. 4th September, S. Jaishankar attended the online BRICS Foreign Ministers meeting. 9th to 10th September, SCO Foreign Ministers meeting took place. And in November, we are going to host, when I say we, I'm talking about India. India is going to host SCO heads of government meeting. So, as you can see, our engagement has been quite reasonable, or we have interacted with each other quite oftenly in recent past. And Mr. Jaishankar has also noted that we live in a curious world. So what is curious world? We live in a very interesting world. And, there is nothing like zero game. You cannot view engagement with different parties as a zero game. So if, let's say, if one corner of this triangle you have Russia, then China and India. Now we know that relationship between India and China are not that great at present. But relationship between Russia and China, they are doing very well. Same thing with India and Russia. We are doing quite okay. Now, there are so many reasons behind it. See, Russia, China, neighbors. Russia, China, good traders, because Russia wants to sell its oil and gas. China wants to buy it from Russia, not depending on other countries or allies of USA. Russia facing sanctions. China wants to develop itself even further using this oil and energy. So there are so many things. They act like a bridge, or they are like magnets, attracting Russia and China towards each other. But that does not mean that Russia is saying tata bye bye to India. Our relationship are strong as well, as you can clearly see from recent past engagements. Both India and Russia recognize the value of having a diversified portfolio of ties. We don't want to stick with just defense products purchase and sales, right? We want more color in this spectrum. India sees Russia in its vision of the Indo-Pacific. When it comes to Indo-Pacific, India's vision includes Russia in Indo-Pacific, and there are reports indicating that in recent forthcoming future, there can be this India, Russia, Japan trilateral. So at present, we have just reports. We don't have anything concrete on this thing, but there are chances that we may have this trilateral of IRJ or JRI, whatever we can call it. But if we have something like this, JRI, then that is going to be good for both India and Russia, and of course for this trilateral group. And we provide strategic space to each other. So if Russia is developing good relationship with China, we are not saying no to Russia. We are not saying that Russia should not. And when we are developing good relationship with USA and India, then Russia is not stopping us. So we are providing enough space, and this is possible because of the deep trust that we have on each other. Interpreting the India-China conversations. Now, we have talked about India and China so many times, so many things about it already. But here we are going to quickly have a bird's eye view about the things that took place in recent past. So on 15th September, Rajnath Singh, he addressed our parliament. And remember our earlier discussion where India said that we are capable, we are ready as well, but we don't want a war. And this is not out of fear, this is out of understanding that we want a peaceful resolution. We want we want to peacefully resolve this whole thing. Earlier on the sidelines of Russia, India, China trilateral meeting in Moscow in early September, the Indian and Chinese defense and foreign ministers had met to try and sort out matters. Blunt exchanges took place. India said that we cannot lose even single inch. Same thing was repeated by, or something similar was said by China. And what emerged from the talks, however, fell well short of expectations. Then this 5-point consensus was launched as well, but then we find so many differences between both nations' opinion. So one thing, the bottom line in a nutshell I can say is there is a huge trust deficit between India and China. India is following the strategy of Chanakya. China is following the strategy of Sun Tzu, right? That's how it looks like. But under Xi Jinping's regime, China is misbehaving, China is aggressive, and what China wants is, China does not want to see any country, like let's say India. China does not want countries like India to be, or to create a challenge to China's rise. It wants a freeway. It does not want to see any sort of speed breakers. And diffusing tensions demands patient diplomacy. But unfortunately, under Xi's regime, we don't find this patience or, sensibility. Aggressiveness is one of the main tools that is used rather than sensibility. And this is the main reason that it becomes very difficult for us to solve something peacefully. Because if the next this party that with which you are dealing, if that party is not ready to follow rules and regulations, then it becomes very difficult. It becomes very difficult for you to do something, to execute something. I hope you know what I mean. So that's basically everything in this article. Now the last one is about dilution without adequate deliberation. So on 19th September, the government withdrew 3 bills related to labor laws and replaced them with new ones. So 2019 bills were withdrew, and they were replaced with 2020 bills. Now, India has a complex regime of labor laws, and several committees have recommended simplifying and rationalizing them. Last year, the government introduced 4 labor codes as bills to replace 29 existing laws. So, 4 bills or 4 codes, you can say. One is on wages, the other one is on occupational safety and health, social security, industrial relations. Now, out of this 4, wage is sorted. The code on wages was passed by the parliament last year. Now we got this 3 missing, or not missing, sorry, these 3 are pending. So over the last few months, the Standing Committee on Labour presented its reports on the other 3 bills. It is these 3 bills that the government has replaced and introduced in the Lok Sabha. Now, the Factory Act of 1948 defines any manufacturing unit. So here it is defining this manufacturing unit. So if you have 10 employees and 10 workers, if you are employing 10 or more than 10 workers, then you will be defined as manufacturing unit if you are using electricity, and if you have 10 or 10 plus people working in your organization. And if you have 20 workers and if you are not using electricity, then as well you will fall under manufacturing unit. But this has been raised, this threshold has been raised to 20 for using electricity, and 40 for if you are not using electricity. The Industrial Disputes Act of 1947 requires any establishment employing over 100 workers to seek government permission before any retrenchment. Retrenchment means any redundancies. If you want to get rid of some people, fire someone, then if you have 100 plus workers, then you need government's permission. But this bar has been raised to 300, and it can be raised even further via notification. So no need more amendments, just a notification will suffice. The Industrial Employment Standing Orders Act of 1946 requires employers to formally define conditions of employment, conditions of employment under them if they have at least 100 workers. So this is raised to 300, and the 2020 bill provide the government with power to exempt establishments from any or all. So government can exempt one organization or few organization, right? So these powers are with government as per this new bill. And the Code on Industrial Relations that governs your trade unions, retrenchment and layoffs, dispute resolution, establishes industrial tribunals and everything that falls under this industrial relations. Now government will decide, and there are exemptions as far as safety is concerned. So health, safety, working condition, so many things are diluted, or they are made a bit light. So the 2020 bill allows the state government to exempt any new factory from its provisions in interest of increased economic activity and employment generation, to create more jobs, to create more economic activity. Health and safety is diluted, and I personally feel that is not how it should be. Health and safety is something that you cannot ignore, because a person, if someone has lost his hand or finger or toes, right, then that person is not going to be as productive as he or she used to be. So health and safety is one of the most important thing. You cannot, and if people are overworking, for long hours without any day off for a very long period of time, because they are in a situation where they need more money, they will work this hard, but in the long run this thing will damage their health. The 2019 bill was applicable to establishments which employed at least 20 contract workers, but now this has been raised to 50. And employment of women in undertaking operations that could be dangerous to their health and safety was prohibited, but now that thing has been removed. So this bill, the provisions of this bill affect every person working in India and every employer, and address complex issues. So what we need more wider scrutiny, public discussion. Standing committee should go through it, and then we should have a proper articles in it, and then we should pass it, not before that. And that's everything in today's discussion. Thank you very much for watching this video. God bless you all. Jai Hind.